PTSD is very serious. I in no way intend to minimize it. However, I've always wished, having both led talk therapy sessions and been the recipient of talk therapy sessions, that there was some mythical way that you could just assist someone, climb right inside those memories and adjust and fix and help guide. So out of those thoughts was the idea that I could use this ENI system to realize that in a fictional way. All right, so what is this? I will be using Charlie Ward's ENI system, that's E-N-I, ENI, in order to be what I think I'm going to call a shamanic clinician. So what in the world is a shamanic clinician? So my idea is this. Through, let's just say, hypnosis, I am able to put a patient who's suffering, in this case, this one will be PTSD. I think I'll stay on that for a while. I'm no expert in all manner of mental health issues, so we'll stick with PTSD where I have the most expertise, as small as that may be. And the idea is that as a shamanic clinician, I have the ability through hypnosis to enter into the dream state of the patient and assist them in what is troubling them. I'm going to be using the Mythic emulator to answer yes/no questions and to give me other answers to things that I'm facing, maybe to even what the problem is. As a solo game, I won't know exactly what the problem is, and we'll be working through it. The ENI system from Charlie Ward is a system where I have, at this point, one die of every type. So 20, 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4, and my 4-sided dice are these cool little arch dice rather than the very harsh-looking triangles. And these are both kind of my health and my abilities. In order to, so I only need to roll if I run into something that is an actual challenge. My persona of a shamanic clinician will bring some skills with him, but when he uses certain talents or expertise, I will roll to surmount whatever that challenge is. All I need to succeed in Charlie's system is a 4. So if I roll a 4-sided die, I only have a 25% chance of success. But if I roll a 20-sided die, well, I don't know the percent, but it's higher. But I could roll a 1, 2, or 3. Also, your success is a measure of the swing of those numbers. So if I get a 14 on a 20-sided die, very successful in the story, will take that road. There is also, if you get the highest number possible, if I roll a 12-sided die and get a 12, there is a little chart I will go to in the book that even allows a secondary roll that gives like some kind of bonus. In this system, if you ask a great question or add something important to the story, just out of the ether, you will be rewarded. I'll be rewarding myself with an ENI. There are 2 types of ENIs. There are silver ENIs, which will be displayed by these actually green little drops. Gold ENIs will let me re-roll dice if I need to. And silver ENIs, or drops, will give me a +1 to something. And I can even pledge them in after I've rolled. So let's get this started. This will be I've done some little rough sessions on this. Again, I will be using ENI for some character development if I need it. And I will be using the Mythic system to answer questions. We'll keep those dice handy and separate. I will start the game because I've been very refreshed. I'm going to start with 2 silver ENIs just to give me a little assistance in this game. So as we open up, the first thing I need to establish is that we're in a very safe and secure, comfortable area. Matter of fact, me as the shamanic clinician, I don't meet in a stuffy office environment. It's actually feels much more like a peaceful outdoor retreat. I'm even almost imagining a little bit of like a Japanese motif. And I'm going to go with that. That'll be the setting, making this up as we go along. For the patient, I want to set kind of the initial tone because I'm going to have to achieve 3 things with my limited dice here. Or if I'm failing, we will just take a break and we will return to the session later. So again, this is imagine a talk therapy type session. So what I've got down for my mission parameters here are number 1, I must gain the trust while in this hypnotic type state. I'm basically able to travel into the thoughts of the patient. I've got to gain the trust and have first contact. If I'm successful there, I can 2, move to overcome a simple challenge. I'm always going to work for a simple challenge before we move on to discovering the root problem, issue number 3, and then eventually solve that root problem. What is the thing that is causing the post-traumatic stress? Yes, sometimes people don't want the D in there, but disorder is fine. These folks that my shamanic counselor or clinicians meeting with are traumatized and they need as much help as they can get. So first, we're going to just go and I will even make notes here as we go and see, what is our patient. This first roll is going to be like as we enter into this dream state with the patient, I never know kind of what dream, chaotic or kind or stark state I'm entering into. So what are we entering into? 56, usurp, and 61, again, we're on the mythic emulator. Ooh, death. Okay, usurp, death. So if I were walking in to somebody, I'm literally stepping into a dream where the patient is trying to overcome death. It appears to be an extremely terrifying moment and chaotic from the get-go. So I was hoping it'd be a little softer entry because remember, my very first thing I have to do is gain the trust of the person. In a dream state, me just stepping in could be extremely problematic. So 82, activity, and 99, ooh, anger. So that tells me everything I need to know right there. For this first contact, I'm an observer of literally the patient fighting for their life. And it's full out crazy activity and a lot of anger. So this is a full-fledged fight in progress, and anger is flaring. So let me ask a yes or no question. Is this like a military combat situation? The anger surprises me here on that. This is a yes or no question. I'm going 50-50, and I got 24. So yes, the yes/no questions, yes, it's a military situation that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a combat action in process. The anger, does it appear as if the anger is caused by maybe the loss of friendly troops? I'm imagining that anger that would just explode out if some of your fellow soldiers were wounded or killed. So again, we'll go 50-50 because I don't know. Ooh, we have 65. So no, it is not. It is not the fellow troops. So what is the anger? I want to get a little definition of what the anger is, or see what I can see. 23. So I'm getting the anger explained. 23 is some kind of judge or judgment. Okay, interesting. And 87, magic. So what would be a magical judge? So I'm imagining almost like a cackling joker. So almost like someone just playing tricks, or a judge that's, because we're entering into the dream state, there's a full combat action going on, and the patient is fighting in this combat military action, but in like a throne situation, there's a, like a joker, almost like a joker you would see on the back of a deck of a cards, dressed as a court jester who's sitting high like on a judge's throne or seat, but cackling and laughing. So seeing that, it tells me we're in the midst of the danger, but that the patient is feeling mocked and judged all at the same time from a position on high. So I need to get into this, seeing this. How would I insert myself? Okay, I think I've got it. It appears as if the patient is like at least a senior NCO, although no rank is visible, or an officer, junior officer. And I believe the way I can insert myself and join into this activity and maybe assist would be to simply step into the combat action. Whatever the threat is that is being combated, I'm going to engage in that, and then as soon as I engage and make myself known, also ask for direction. What are your orders? Good, I like it. So this will be my step into gaining trust. I think this is a crucial point, but I don't want to use my 20-sided die yet. But this is a key. How does this work? Let me make sure my percentile dice are off to the side. So I need to get at least a 4 or better. The higher the number, the better it works. If I get a 12, we will look at some other things. 7. Okay, so we're a little bit better than, we're on the upside of 50%. So it works, first of all. I've immediately, the engaging, stepping in, I can see slight confusion from the patients. Who is this? I thought I knew everybody in my squad or platoon. Who is this? But asking for orders immediately and clearly fighting with the patient against the opposition, I immediately receive orders of, place fire on that second story window. And with my M4, I'm immediately engaging and doing what I'm told. So check, we are past step 1, which is gain trust and first contact. So number 2, I have to overcome a simple challenge. A simple challenge. So I'm interested. I don't think dealing with this judging jester? Wow. I don't think dealing with that at this point in time would be a simple challenge. Matter of fact, it's still rather confusing, although clearly somebody is mockingly sitting in judgment of this patient. And that could even be part of the main problem. Now, the story's unfolding, and I think the question is, what am I seeing as it unfolds? Because remember, there's something that's traumatic that's going to be sitting here along with judgment. And this dice is spent now, by the way, so my 12-sided die is gone. I want to see what is the following action. We're getting close to what the problem is. 46 is develop, and 48 under subject is success. So that's interesting. My job as the clinician, the shamanic clinician, is not to alter the scenario. Matter of fact, to a certain extent, it's for me to see it play out. So I'm not one of altering what happens, but how would I develop success? Because sometimes what's necessary is to just fully understand what has unfolded. Now, there is always the possibility that that memory is amplified or not quite what the actual historic facts are. And I would think as a clinician, I would be privy to some after action reports or something. So it may be to the point where if I see something has been overemphasized or fixated upon that doesn't fit the record, maybe there's some direction to play with. But develop success. I can see where that might go. Let me get a little further. 39 is bestow, so give or gift. Bestow. 37, business. Develop success and bestow business. Well, this tells me I'm not just dealing with an NCO. This sounds like maybe either a first lieutenant or even a captain at the company level. So developing success, bestowing business, giving the idea of what the professional soldier is up to. So I'm going to roll one more time because this tells me I'm dealing with a first lieutenant, which would be like the XO or the captain. But I'm still not getting an idea of kind of what would be an overcome a simple challenge would be. And I've got to be careful as I move forward. I'm kind of curious, what's the combat situation here? 57 is create. 36, create bureaucracy. I got it. So as this combat action is unfolding, this captain, it is a captain, is receiving radio comms from like his lieutenant colonel, his battalion commander, or someone higher up. All I'm hearing is the same comms. I can hear it coming across loud. And this commander is attempting to direct combat actions from on high. So I don't know if this commander's up in a chopper seeing this, or is he working through a drone? I think let's use a drone. And he's actually managing the captain while the captain is engaged, and it is causing him a lot of distraction and difficulty, which is known to happen, especially with the modern day communication. That is his frustration. So how could a simple challenge? Well, I've already aligned myself as like an E4 or some low-level troop, so it's not like I can go up and just pull away his communications. We haven't gotten to the actual trauma yet, but that does seem interesting that we're dealing with a joker of a judge and yet this command micromanagement. So maybe this lieutenant colonel, communication, micromanage, could he also be the joker judge? Who knows? That's a possibility. Oh boy, so what would I do? What would I do? Minor challenge. I think one thing to do is maybe I want to feed back into giving the captain action. So if I've already followed the action of putting the fire on the window. I think what I'm going to do, because in my position as the shamanic clinician, I can see kind of almost that God's eye view, and I can hear this loud communications coming through, this distracting, it's amplified, it's pulling the commander while he's in action. 70% of his focus is on trying to follow the commands that are just being pumped right into his head. It's loud, it's shouting. It's not like it's coming through, it's like it's being shouted from God on high. Meanwhile, the Joker sits on his high bench, cackling and mocking and saying things all at the same time. Meanwhile, combat is continuing to be engaged all at the same time. I think I'm going to come up and just touch the captain's arm. I can see he's almost getting lost in this conversation that's coming from the lieutenant colonel. And as I do, he locks in his eyes with me, and I say, Captain, just give me your orders and I'll follow them. And this will be me trying to overcome a simple challenge to get him focused back into what the problem is. Although I can see what some of this problem is. I think the question is, there's no die roll on that, but is that successful? And I want to think that it would be somewhat likely. So I've been accepted in to this shared dream. I almost think it would be likely that this would work and drive the focus, at least to a percentage, back towards the action. So let's go with that this is probably likely to work. Chaos factor of 5. That factor will go up if things start getting out of hand. It'll go down if things are relatively controlled. Let's see. 13. So yes, and a matter of fact, that's an extreme yes. So that's very good. So an extreme yes, in this case, would have been anything 15 or lower. So I got 13. 13 making it an extreme yes. So this is very, very effective. Inside this dream, you can hear the commands from the lieutenant colonel, I'm presuming, start to come back down from a loud, almost loudspeaker, migraine-inducing shouting. It starts to come down and almost even fall into the background. I like that. I believe without even rolling, I've overcome a simple challenge by getting the focus on the combat. And I've realized that some of what this trauma could be is the fact that that maybe the captain was, with split attention, felt like he couldn't focus on the problem at hand. And obviously something is about to go very wrong that's going to stick and cause that mental scar for the captain, which has induced this PTSD. All right, so he, at least within the dream state, we're not saying we're fixing anything, we're not changing anything. This is just this dream that I've stepped into to try to bring it in, point it, and get some guidance on it. So we can see there's something to deal with that micromanagement command factor. So 3 is discover the root problem. So we're not there yet. The root problem is combat related. I think I was aware of that already. I've already determined these other little things going on, this micromanagement of command, some kind of jesting judge that's sitting there. So maybe that, I'll have to figure out what that is. We're going to go back into what is the thing that goes terribly wrong right here. We may have to roll and on 3 sets. Each time we roll, we're rolling on action subject. So we have 62, disruption. We have disruption, 100, and information. Sorry, I was in the wrong area. So 62, we have inspect. So inspect information. Okay, this is leading me down a road that maybe the captain misread or misinspected some information that got his troops killed, or maybe he didn't see something he feels he should have. We have a 4, which is fight. All right, so again, kind of relaying in, and 19, new ideas. Fight new ideas. Okay, well, in the frame of it, I think the captain probably had a new idea, and it was shot down by the lieutenant colonel. And he didn't press back. So he didn't push back on that. He allowed it. So inspecting information, has a new idea. I'm seeing this. I'm almost imagining like he's inspecting and puts together an op, and he has an idea of how to do it. That's shot down by the colonel. I like it. I don't even think I need to roll further. That's shot down by the lieutenant colonel. And a more traditional frontal attack kind of situation occurs, and it is backfiring terribly. So what I imagine seeing is a little bit of almost like the way dreams pop around is suddenly we're back at like a command center, and I can see the patient putting forth an op plan and being berated by the colonel for stepping outside of doctrine. And the captain trying to defend his ideas and to say that the way he's inspected and studied the information, he believes his idea is right. He gets basically verbally slapped around and actually gives into that, cowers to that, even worries internally, as you can see, and I can hear his thoughts that why kill my career over this? You know, why am I so sure on that I'm right about this? And that argument that even happens within his head on why didn't he? So I can see that struggle, and that is the point of problem here, is that he feels had he done what he needed to do, rather than being selfish about his own career, that he could have saved a lot of his men. I like it. So there is our main problem. So I'm through 3 and I've only rolled once. I figured I'd be rolling a lot more. I still got die to get through the main problem. But you never know how these are going to go. And I've got some ENIs to add a +1 to my rolls, so I'm feeling fairly confident. Being able to see that is good. But now we got to go to the step 4, which is solve the root problem. Now, solve is probably the wrong adjective. The goal of this shamanic session is to help give the patient both understanding and closure, because we'll be meeting post-session here as well and discussing what was seen and how it was handled. So it's not like magic switch, person's healed. The key really to the PTSD is to impart the understanding of what's troubling, and then tips on how to move forward with like acceptance and understanding. Yeah, so there's a whole post part here. So it's not like we're changing the memory. We're not fiddling with that. If anything, we want to make things clear. So with that, I think we've popped back to the combat, and the captain trying to follow the orders given and being very frustrated with the wounding and death of his troops based on him not standing up firmly enough against the lieutenant colonel. And it's interesting. An E4, if I was just the troop as I got to see him, I don't think would be able to have a conversation with him about, hey, you know, you do the best you can with the orders you're given. So I think we'll have to come back to I'm thinking, I think it's got to be just you do the best you can with what you got. And if the lieutenant colonel gives orders, then you follow them. and you've done everything you can. Boy, what would I do to step in here? All right, I'm gonna use an idea. So I was a medic, real life medic in the Army, and I'm going to have my E4 now with, and they don't even wear these anymore, but like that medic armband on both arms. Clearly the medic. Aid bag, still the M4. But medics sometimes have an ability to talk to the upper brass, and the captain of the company would be the upper brass for an E4 medic. And I think he's going to slide into whatever piece of cover the captain's got, where he's trying to direct the battle. And the captain's frustrated with this head-on approach. And I can even imagine, he's on his Prick 24. They probably don't use that anymore. Was it a 24? I think I got the number right. But I see him just throwing it back in the slot. Again, just another way of showing that he's communicating with command and it's not going well. And what I'm going to do as the medic, and I'll roll for this, with a 8-sided die, is I'm going to just say like a piece of sage wisdom that a medic might have. And it's going to be something along the lines of, Captain, whenever I'm trying to save somebody, I'm dealt with, just the cards I'm dealt with are what I have to work with. As terrible as it may be, I just do the best I can with the knowledge I have, and that gives a lot of comfort to the wounded soldier I'm working on. And I think, I'll share this. This would probably be a stretch too far, but we're in the dream state, so all things can kind of flow. This wouldn't happen in real life. I think the medic, or I would say, you're just doing the same thing. You're working with the cards you've been dealt. Now I'm curious, I do have an ENI for a +1. Come on now. A 5. Whew. So we're ahead. 4 are better. So it's good. It works, but it doesn't work great. And that die is gone. So as it works, meaning I see the captain basically focusing in on the medic, the doc, and saying, "Doc, I get what you're saying, but it's like I'm working on 20 patients or 100 patients at once." And although he's gotten a point across, he can still see almost like a drifting with the captain, as he can see his internal struggle that, my problem's bigger than just one. And yeah, it's the hand I'm dealt, but I had the solution. I had the solution, and I didn't fight hard enough for it. Interesting. I think I'm going to try a technique where I would shift, much like a dream wheel, from the medic almost into, boy, would it be a stretch to go to the father type figure? I'm going to try it. So I'm going to move to the first name of the captain. We're going to just call him Anthony. And Anthony C., what would be a good last name? Anthony C. Thompson. And I'm going to take a risk here. I bet you I end up rolling my 20-sided die on this, because using just the fatherly tone, it's as if the medic has phased back, and I just want this tone kind of coming out of the air from on high. And I'm able to direct myself and do this. And in that father tone, having read Anthony C. Thompson's file and having prior met with him, I know just a little bit about his dad, but do I know enough is the question. But I know his father was involved in his life and that he looks up to his father, making this up as I go along. And so I come in assuming that almost rough-edged fatherly tone and the Anthony C. Thompson, you were doing what you had to do. I didn't raise you to buck orders with your battalion commander. Do you really think you had an option? How does that go? Ooh, yeah, I'll go with the 20-sided die. I think we're on the main deal because we're talking fatherly advice versus his own questioning of why didn't he fight harder. And I may need the innies. Woo, we got a 12. So that is gone, but a 12 is good. We're up there. That works. And I think Captain Thompson starts to talk back to his father, or the sound of his father. And he says, Dad, I didn't fight hard enough or provide enough information to get this op to go the way I knew it needed to go, the way it needed to be done. And I'm losing men because of it. And the father immediately says, that is war, son. That is how it goes. You aren't the lieutenant colonel. You don't get to make those levels of decisions. Maybe you can make a better argument next time. But you also don't know your way was better or more right or superior to what you're doing now. It might have been. It good and well might have been. But you will never know that. You do the best you can with what cards you got dealt. He re-echoes, because it's me, what the medic had told him. And I think he ends with, do you understand me? And he's looking for a yes, sir. We're going to go with a roll on it. That's a push. Let's do it. No 1, 2s, or 3s. Woo, we got a 10. So that is the best I could have done on a 10-sided die. So that worked really well. And we're going to go to the great success. So I re-roll again. So during the PC challenge, if you roll the dice's highest result possible before modifying it, it succeeds and your PC gains a bonus. Roll the spent challenge die again to see what you get. Now, I can't go above 10. The things get better and better the higher you go. But let's see. Higher is better. 2. 1 to 3 is just have a flashback. Okay. 5 to 10, if relevant, roll an additional. 5 to 10, if relevant, roll an additional d4 with the challenge die. This lasts until your PC rests. I'm not sure I understand what that is. Oh, I get an extra d4 with my challenge. So I picked up an extra d4 just anyway, but I have a flashback, and I know exactly what that would be. So in this moment, Captain Thompson goes back to, I think, a key moment in high school where I picture him hunting with his father, and his father walking him through that kind of father-son rite of passage that hunters have. Now, I'm not a hunter. My dad didn't hunt, but I've talked to buddies that have talked about how they still remember how their dad taught them that. So it leads to this extremely pleasant and comforting. You can feel it within the dream, this flashback to this hunting scene. And I picture maybe Thompson missed a shot and was mad and frustrated. And I think his father stepped in with like that calm fatherly advice, kind of what he just received. And that reinstitutes itself, and the dream shifts to that for a moment. I like that. I think that is very, very good. And I think in that same dream state, I'm able to manipulate or become that fatherly image, or at least the voice. Manipulate sounds bad. But to redirect that same exact type of advice that I'm observing back toward where he's at now. And I'm able to even use some of the same verbiage of, you deal with what you're given, what's in front of you. Everything you've done before is all you could do to make it as good as it could be without having the foreknowledge of what will be. And then you lead. And part of that leadership is picking up the pieces that maybe get broken along the way. You are guaranteed to lose men. But let's not lose you. That's the closer. So I'm down to 6 and 2 4-sided die. I will be adding some +1s to this if necessary, because that feels good. 6, completely unnecessary. We maxed that out, and we get to go back as the highest number here. Another 6 is become wise. I love it. Love it. That is perfect. 6 out of 6. Bonus, become wise. So what will happen is I, as the clinician, start to pull back out of the dream. The patient, still in a safe environment, calm, and begins to wake. And we would then go into a normal kind of talk therapy session with much greater understanding on both sides, and that touch of wisdom that has been imparted to Anthony C. Thompson. So that worked really, really well. Wow. I'm going to do more of these. I like how, again, which is so good with mythic and everything, I have no idea where this is going. In real life, which this is not real life, there would of course be follow-up real sessions with the patient working through, but the idea that you could go into someone's dream is just so neat and obviously completely fantastical and not real. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified, but I do all kinds of different content.